because non-Jews are not allowed to eat kishka.
Only if you took it out while it's flailing, right?
No, because automatically it's considered taken out. That's the whole idea, right? Once it's cut, it's as if it's in the basket. So once they can't eat those cuts of meat, or we couldn't feed them those cuts of meat. That would be according to Rav Achabar Yaakov. Let's wait till the end of the Gemara. Amar Rav Papa said, Have Yosif Kamed Rav Achabar Yaakov. I was sitting in front of Rav Achabar Yaakov. Uvai. I was sitting in front of Rav Achabar Yaakov, and Uvaid Eimalei. I wanted to say to him, I can't understand such a ruling. Is there such a thing that for a Jew it's allowed and for a non-Jew it's not allowed? We have more mitzvahs than they do. So, we have more mitzvahs. So they can't eat kishka, but we could. That makes no sense. They can eat pork, but we can't. It doesn't make sense. They have more stringency than we do. It doesn't make sense. Hello, Amarle. And I didn't say it to him. Damina, because I said, a time kama. But he gave a good, he gave a whole logical reason. So, it doesn't make sense to me, but he does have an explanation here. For Jews, the issue is shchita. So for Jews, it's permitted because there was a shchita on it. For non-Jews, the issue is Avram and Achai. It shouldn't be permitted. But the truth is, Tanya, we in fact have a brisa like Rav Papa. We have a brisa the Lokra of Achabar Yaakov, not like Rav Achabar Yaakov. And the brisa says, let's say for health reasons, a person wants to eat meat that was taken from an animal before the animal's soul left. He cuts out an olive worth of meat from the place of the cut, from the neck, where he just shechted it. There's a lot of blood there, so he has to salt it very, very well. He has to rinse it very, very well. And then he has to wait till the animal drops dead, because even though he took it out before it was dead, there is a pasuk that says, Lo sochlo adam, don't eat on the blood, which includes also don't eat when the animal is still alive. He has to wait till the animal drops dead. And then he can eat it. Listen. Both a non-Jew and a Jew are allowed in it. And that's in fact the halacha. The halacha is that since it's allowed for a Jew, it's allowed for a non-Jew as well. And therefore, we can feed non-Jews leftover cholent. They are allowed to have kishka. They don't say that the kishka is prohibited to them. Says the Gemara, this is a proof for Rav Yidi bar Avin to the idea of Rav Yidi bar Avin. Amar Rav Yidi bar Avin, Amar Rav Yitzchak bar Asiyan. Rav Yidi bar Avin says the name of Rav Yitzchak bar Asiyan. Harotza sheyavi. If a person wants to become very healthy, needs to eat the meat that still has some life in it, that had life in it. What does he do? He does the following: he shechts an animal, slits the two pipes, and then chotek kazayach basam base shchitasa shel behema. He takes out an olive worth of meat from where the animal was slaughtered. He salts it very well. He washes it very well. And then he waits until the animal dies. Non-Jews and Jews are both allowed in it. Okay, questions? No? Okay.
Rabbi, the cholent with just beans, without meat, are allowed?
That would certainly be allowed.
No, okay.
Oh, meat also. It's just the kishka. It's the kishka that's the problem.
Rabbi, if
flankin's okay.
Practically your Reish Lakish's opinion, right? How do you know that the lung was perforated before or after shchita? Do we assume that if we see a perforation in the lung after we cut the animal open, can we say to ourselves, "Oh, we can assume that the or is it the sveika that so we don't know, so therefore we assume no."
Yeah, it's a suffix. I don't know. Suffix to Rais al-Chumrah.
Right.
All right, so now we move on to the rest of the daf. It's going to deal with the laws of tumah, the laws of impurity. Very important point when we talk about impurity is that food items can only become impure once they were mukhshar, that is, once they were willfully rinsed with one of the 7 liquids. And another important law about impurity is that the source of impurity, that's called an avatuma, that would be a dead rodent, dead body. The person who touches the dead body, Then you have that which touches the source, that becomes a Rishon L'Tumah. That which touches a Rishon becomes a Sheni L'Tumah. In Chullin, that's where it stops. But a Sheni L'Tumah that touches Truma, the Truma absorbs the Tumah but doesn't pass it on further. It becomes Pasul, it becomes a Shlishi. And if a Sheni touches Kachin, if a Sheni touches a Karban, the Karban becomes a Shlishi, and it makes the next Karban it touches into a Revi. And also it has to be burned. Okay, the Mishnah now. If a person slaughters an animal, domesticated animal, a wild animal, or a bird, no blood came out, it's still kosher. So for whatever reason there's no blood in this animal, you could even eat the meat with hands that are impure, because the meat was not mukhshar l'kabel tumah. Because since there was no blood, the meat was never rinsed with a liquid. It wasn't made able to become impure. Rabbi Shimon says no. The same way the act of slaughter makes an animal edible to be eaten, it makes it kosher, it also makes it able to become impure. Shrita, according to Rabbi Shimon, is machshir, makes it able to become impure in the same way liquids, rinsing food, makes it able to become impure. Says the Gemara, 1 second. The issue of this Mishnah, why does it work, is because no blood came out. If blood would come out, then apparently you wouldn't be able to eat it with hands that are impure. Now, why? The impurity on hands is only a sheni l'tumah. It's a rabbinic law that the rabbis imposed on the hands the status of sheni l'tumah. Because people don't always wash their hands. It has wash their hands. It has a chadas. Therefore, they become a sheni l'tumah. 1 second. Ain't sheni oser shlishi b'chulin. If a sheni touches a piece of meat, which is chulin, which isn't holy, so nothing happens. There is no ability to create a shlishi in chulin. Shlishi is only in truma or in kachin. So when I says 1 second, how do you know that we're dealing here with chulin? I'll tell you how you know. The Ktani Chaya, it says a wild animal, like a deer. Dilu kachim, if we're talking about karbanos, chaya b'kachim mi'ika, there's no carbon brought of a deer. And furthermore, even kachim, we're talking about kachim, ki lo yatzan hendan ksheira, blood didn't come out, it's kosher. Who atzma l'damu tzarech? The whole point of the slaughtering is to get to the blood, to get to the life, and then to throw the life onto the mizbeach. And furthermore, even kachim, we're talking about kachim, ki yatzan hendan mi machshir. If blood came out, is the blood of kachim going to make it rinsed so that it could be able to become tameh? The blood of karbanos, if that spills on something, does not make it able to become tameh. As the verse says, which tells you blood that is poured like water, that has the ability to make something able to become tameh. However, blood that's not poured like water, namely the blood of karbanos, which has to go on the altar, that doesn't have the ability to make something able to become impure. And furthermore, fourth question, if you're going to tell me our Mishnah is talking about karbanos, why do we even need blood to make it able to become impure? The very fact that it's holy, and holiness is very precious, it has to be watched very carefully, that itself should make it able to become impure. Because we rule the fact that holy items are specially holy, that already makes them able to become impure. So Amar Rav Nachman Rav Baravua, here our Mishnah is not talking about kachim. It's also not talking about chulin. It's talking about meiser sheni. Somebody had fruits. He separated 10% of the fruits as meiser sheni. He took the holiness off of the meiser sheni. He put it onto coins. Brings the coins to Yerushalayim, and with the coins that have the holiness of meiser sheni, he buys an animal. So now the animal has the status of meiser sheni. Now meiser sheni has to be eaten in a state of purity, and that's what we're saying. We're saying that if there's no blood, so it was never mukhshar l'kabel tumah, but if there would be blood, then you couldn't use your hands to eat it because your hands are a sheni, and that would ruin the meiser sheni. This is the log, if your hands were a sheni l'tumah, and that would ruin meiser sheni. So log Rabbi Meir, this is not like the view of Rabbi Meir. It's not as we learned in the Mishnah. Rabbi Meir says, Kol aton biyusmayim. The law is like this. Kol aton biyusmayim midivrei sofrim. All those things that need to have water on them, midrabanan, let's say like hands, and sheni l'tumah. If they touch a carbon, they make the carbon tameh. They make it a shlishi, which can ruin other carbonos. And posel is truma. If they touch truma, that truma can't make other things bad, but it itself is disqualified. And mutter b'chulin, and a sheni that touches chulin, it's permitted entirely. Ube meiser, and a sheni that touches meiser sheni is also permitted entirely. Divrei Rabbi Meir, v'chachamim osem b'meiser. Chachamim say that if a sheni touches meiser sheni, the meiser sheni is prohibited. So that's the case of our Mishnah. We're talking about meiser sheni, and that's what we're saying. This meat had the status of meiser sheni because it was bought with money of meiser sheni, but it didn't have any blood. So since it didn't have any blood, it wasn't mushal l'kabel tumah. That's why you could eat it with hands that were a sheni l'tumah. But if it would have had blood, making it able to be makabel tumah, making it able to become impure, then you couldn't use it with your hands because your hands are a sheni l'tumah, and a sheni l'tumah would ruin even meiser sheni, the same way it ruins truma according to the chacham.
Rabbi, you're saying that if you shech the animal kosher way and no blood comes out,
It's still
you're
a kosher
allowed to
shechita.
eat the meat of
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Isn't that a dead animal walking, with no blood?
I don't know.
I think that's dead.
I don't know.
No
I don't know.
blood?
I don't know how it works. I don't know. We have to ask the doctors.
You know.
Maskefler Rav Simi Bar Ashi. Rav Simi Bar Ashi challenged this. He might. Who's to say that, according to the Rabbanan, a sheni l'tumah can ruin meiser sheni? Dilmad kan lo pligi Rabbanan alei de Rabbi Meir. Maybe the argument between the Rabbanan and Rabbi Meir is ela ba'achilas meiser. It's saying like this: somebody whose hands are a sheni l'tumah, or a person who's a sheni l'tumah, could not eat meiser sheni. Avol b'negia de meiser. But if somebody's hands are a sheni l'tumah, for him to touch meiser sheni, ba'achila de chulin, or for him to eat chulin, lo pligi. Here they don't argue, and there they agree with Rabbi Meir that a person whose hands are not washed and he touches meiser sheni, it's okay. It's not a problem because the touch itself is not going to make it into a shlishi. What's the reason to say such a thing? V'hanagia, our Mishnah doesn't say necessarily that the person was eating the animal. He was talking about touching it. Why? Because the Mishnah says, an animal that doesn't have blood is eaten with hands that are impure. Can it also be referring to a case that the person who's eating is pure, and his friends whose hands are impure is taking the meat and handing it in, putting it into his mouth? So if that's the case, you see that if it would have been mukhshal kabel tuma, right, if there would have been blood, this case also of somebody touching it and putting it into the mouth of someone who's tahor would be no good. So why? Why would it be no good? According to Rabbi Meir, it's certainly okay because he holds that a sheni doesn't ruin meiser sheni at all. Even the chachamim, maybe they only say that a sheni can't eat meiser sheni, but maybe they allow a sheni to touch meiser sheni. So Rav Papa, so therefore Rav Papa wanted to suggest a new answer for our Mishnah. And the problem in our Mishnah is, the Mishnah implies if there would be blood, then you couldn't use hands that are a sheni l'tumah. So why? Talking about chulin, presumably. Rav Papa said, Hacha bi'adayim tchilos askina. We're not talking about hands that are a sheni l'tumah. We're talking about hands that are a rishon l'tumah. And Rav Shimon Elazar, and the Mishnah is the view of Rav Shimon Elazar. Tanya, we went to the Brisa. Rav Shimon Elazar says, we learned the following. We learned in Yadayim Tchilos L'chulin. This that we say that sometimes Yadayim have the status of a Rishon L'Tumah. That's not true in regards to Chulin. Shimon Elazar Omer. Shimon Elazar says in the name of Rabbi Meir, Yadayim Tchilos L'Chulin. Yadayim could be a Rishon L'Tumah in regards to Chulin. Ushnios L'Truma. And they are Sheni L'Tumah in regards to Truma. So now already we have the explanation. So if there's no blood, the meat could be eaten with hands that are Rishon L'Tumah, because they weren't Mukhshel L'Kabel Tumah. But if there was blood, so then the meat can't be eaten with these hands, because since these hands are Rishon L'Tumah, they're going to make the meat into a Sheni L'Tumah. Asks the Gemara, Tchilos L'Chulan Ein L'Truma Lo. What does it mean? The hands are a Rishon L'Tumah in regards to Chulin, and they're considered a Sheni L'Tumah in regards to Truma? It makes no sense. Truma should be stricter. This is what he means. Tchilos Af L'Chulin. We find that hands that are a Rishon, there'll be a problem for Chulin. Shnios, if hands are a Sheni L'Truma in, that would only be a problem for Truma. L'Chulin Lo, there'd never be a problem for Chulin, because a Sheni doesn't make a Shlishi in Chulin. Ask the Gemara, Miki Yadayim Tchilos, what are you talking about hands being a Rishon L'Tumah? How are hands a Rishon L'Tumah? Hands are a Sheni L'Tumah. There is such a thing as hands being a Rishon L'Tumah. The Tanya learned in a Braisa. In the case of a house of tzaras, if a person walks into the house of tzaras, he becomes impure. What happens if he doesn't walk into the house of tzaras? He just put his hands into a house of tzaras, but his body didn't go in. So then yadav tchilos, his hands are tamei. And what level of tumah? They are a rishon l'tumah divrei Rabbi Akiva. Chacham say no, just put his hands in, they don't become tamei. It's just the regular law of impurity. Yadav shnios, his hands are sheni l'tumah. So the Kuliyam, everybody agrees, bia b'miktzas lo shma bia. The fact that only part of the body went in, it's not considered that the whole body went in, and the entirety of the person is not impure. It's a rabbinic impurity here. The question is, there's a decree. Do we say that if the hands went in, we should decree that the hands are impure, because if we don't make the hands impure, then maybe the next time his body's going to go in, he's not going to think that the body's impure. So if we make such a decree, so then we say it's as if the body, just like if the body would have gone in, it would be a rishon. So therefore, if it's just the hands that we're making them tummy because we're worried about the body going in, the hands also become a rishon l'tumah. The other opinion is yadav ki yadayim ta'amal shavina rabbanan. If they're saying the hands are impure because they went in, they're making them the way hands normally are, and the hands normally are a sheni l'tumah. So that's the case. The case is Rav Shimon Elazar, who holds that Yadayim could be a Rishon L'Tumah, and that's what is touching this meat. Look like Rabbi Akiva. Why don't we say it's like Rabbi Akiva, the Amar, who said, Yadav Tchilos Havyan, who says that the hands that go into a Bayis HaMenuga are a Rishon L'Tumah. When it says, Kikam Rabbi Akiva, maybe Rabbi Akiva only says it's a Rishon L'Tumah, Hani Mili, B'Tshum V'Kachim D'Chamiri, in regards to touching Tshum or Kachim, because those are very severe. Maybe for Chulin, they are considered a Sheni L'Tumah. That's what we needed to say. It's like Rav Shimon Elazar says explicitly that you have these hands that went into a house of tzaras, and they have the status of a Rishon L'Tumah for Chulin. Says the Gemara, V'lehev Yanami Shnios. 1 second. Let's say hands are a Sheni L'Tumah in regards to Chulin according to Rabbi Akiva. You could say that our Mishnah is Rabbi Akiva, because Rabbi Akiva holds that a Sheni L'Tumah touching Chulin makes it into a Shlishi. He thinks that Shlishi is not only a law in Kachim, the way we've been saying all along, but it's even a law in Chulin. It's not as learned in a Mishnah. Oh, by Yom, the day that Rabbi Zev Reichman became the Nasi, Darash Rabbi Akiva taught the following. The verse says about the dead rodent, that when a dead rodent falls into an earthenware vessel, everything inside the earthenware vessel becomes impure. So, Tameh lo nemar. It doesn't say it is Tameh. Ela yitma. It will become impure. That sounds like it'll make things impure. L'tameh acher. To make other things impure. So limit al kikar sheni, so that's telling you if you have, an earthenware vessel, a dead rodent comes into its airspace. The dead rodent is an av. Now the vessel becomes a rishon, and the piece of bread placed into the vessel afterwards becomes a sheni. So yitzma shehu oseh shlishi, that the thing that touches it would become a shlishi even in chulin. So 1 second, Dilma Hani Mili, maybe that's true that Rabbi Akiva holds that a sheni can make a shlishi until a doraisa. When you start with a biblical source, you start with a dead rodent. Avo midrabanan, lo, midrabanan, maybe not. So therefore, we didn't want to say that our Mishnah is the view of Rabbi Akiva and saying that a sheni l'tumah is going to make the meat into a shlishi l'tumah, and that's why we wanted to say it's really the view of Rabbi Shimon Elazar. We're talking about hands that are a rishon l'tumah, and they are a rishon l'tumah even in regards to chulin, because Rabbi Shimon Elazar said that in regards to hands that were placed into a building that has tzaras. Yeah, question?
Yeah, Rabbi, tame is tame. Why do I have to degree it between first degree and second degree?
Degrees. That's what there is. There are lots of different degrees. There's Ava Tuma, Rishon L'Tuma, Sheni L'Tuma.
But at the end of the day, tame is tame, no?
No.
So, I mean, what is it you have to do? You watch between soap and Clorox? Is that what you have to do? I don't understand that.
Tuma is not, it's not cleanliness. It's a spiritual status of impurity, of contact with the death, etc.
Rabbi, fundamentally, I don't understand.
From a higher level, you can transfer easier. Lower level, you can't necessarily transfer.
Not every, for the lower levels, it can't go as far. It can't go further. Sometimes it got stuck. It's diluted. It's like you think about you make a drink and you put in some grape juice to give it some grape taste, and you put in some more water. And at a certain point, it's so diluted, you keep pouring it. It's not much left. So the tumah keeps getting less and less. There's the big level and less and less.
It's the same thing with the
tumah, there's the hava tumah, the big tumah, and then it became less, it becomes less.
But they are being cured by, let's say, going to mikveh or...
yes,
or
all impurity needs an immersion in the mikveh.
Yeah.
We might need other things too. Sometimes you need to bring a carbon, you need to wait 7 days, bring a carbon on the 8th day. Sometimes you need sprinkling of the spring water of paraduma with the ashes of paraduma. But all impurity is going to also need mikveh. Mikvah is a sine qua non for purity.
Wow.
Except for an earthenware vessel. That becomes pure by breaking it.
By breaking it.
Right. But it's not the vessel anymore. It's gone. It's broken.
Gone.
But generally, to create purity, you always need mikvah.
When you break it, you have to bury it, right? Am I right?
No. Can we make it into something new? Rabbi Chanani ben Akashia, Me'eretz HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Zakos Yisrael.